This is the straight ahead animation tutorial for the Animate CC program. First, you want to create a new Animate CC document, and we want to use ActionScript 3.0 right now. So click on that. It opens up a new document. We want to make sure the settings are correct. So for the properties, you want to make sure you're using ActionScript 3.0. You want the frames per second to be 12, and you want to make sure it's the width 550 and the height 400 pixels. Okay, so now you want to go ahead and save this. So File, Save As, make sure it's going to the desktop. You want to give this your last name, your first initial, underscore, and straight. And save that. Make sure it's an Animate document, so that's an FLA document. And let it put the extension on. Don't hide the extension, so you'll be able to find it later. So here is the way it will display. Now I've changed my settings so that I have a much lower resolution, so that it will be easier for you to see things. Yours will probably be much smaller. And come up to this corner and fit in window to make it fill the space most effectively. It's easier to work on. We want to add layers, so we're going to come down here to the Add Layer button in the timeline. So New Layer. So we've got 3 layers now. We want to double click each layer name and rename the layer. So I'm going to double click on Layer 1 and I'm going to rename it Layer capital A. Now I'll double click on Layer 2 and I'll rename that one Layer capital B, and Layer 3 I will rename Layer capital C. Make sure to Command S to save that. We're going to do 3 different types of straight ahead animation in this same file, so make sure to draw each layer in a different space so they won't overlap. So select Layer A, and then using the padlock, lock the other 2 layers so you don't accidentally draw in one of the other layers. And I'm going to draw this, pull this out so I can see all of my tools. So click on the fill color and choose a blue color, and the one I'm going to choose is 4 zeros and FF. It's the one that's most brilliant and bright. And now I'm going to choose the brush tool. So there's the fill color. And what size brush tool? So I'm going to click on the properties. Your properties are probably already showing, but since I've changed my display, I have to click on the name of the panel. Okay, for the brush shape, you want to move the size up so that's a medium size, okay? So that you'll be able to get a good look to your brush. You'll be able to see it well. So let's see, we've got a medium size. On the far left hand side, I'm going to draw a small bit. This is the beginning of my letter A. And now I will press F6. So up at the top, you've got your F keys. Press F6, and that adds a frame, which duplicates the previous frame. And now I can add to it. That's why it's called Additive. And I want to have, since I've got 12 frames per second, I want to end up with 12 frames. Right now I'm on frame 5. Okay, so I've got 12 frames, and when you play it, you can see your letter building up. Now let's save that, Command S, and you can select Loop and go to the options to Marker Range All, and then press the play button and you can see it looping. Okay, so I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to turn off Loop for a moment. Now I'm going to lock layer A and go to layer B. Now on the first frame of layer B, I'm going to change my fill color to a red. And here's a nice bright red. And now I'm going to, remembering where my A ended up right there, I'm going to start drawing a B, and I'm going to draw the whole B. So there's my letter B. And now I'm going to, let's make it look like it's got some little decorations on the edges. Okay, now I'm going to get an eraser tool, and I'm going to press the button F6 to duplicate that shape. This time I'm going to erase part of it. And then F6, and erase another part of it. F6, and erase some more of it. And just do that until you've erased all of the letter B. Down to just one little piece. So that kind of mirrors what you did with the letter A. Command Save. And once again, turn on looping and go back to the first frame and play it. And now while A is drawn on, B is erased. Stop that. Command S to make sure it's saved. And now I'm going to turn off looping. Select the first frame on layer B, and then shift click on the last frame of layer B. And this will select the entire range of frames. Right click on the layer B and come to Reverse Frames. And now, if you go back to the beginning, turn on your looping and play it, both letters are drawn on at the same time. So this gives you a little bit more control on how it looks. So you get the same effect, but with a negative instead of a positive. So here we've had additive, then subtractive, subtracted, reversed to become additive. So this is just to give you some idea of the way things can be used. Command S to save that. Lock layer B, unlock layer C. Turn off looping. Now let's make sure we've got our brush selected, and let's choose a purple color. And now I'm going to draw the letter C. I'm going to draw the whole thing again. Let's check to see where the B ends. Okay. The keyframe selected and brush tool selected. Now I'm going to draw the letter C, all of the letter C. So there's the letter C. And now make sure that you've got this keyframe selected. And now I want to select the free transform tool. And I want to press F6. So I've got this next frame. And I'm going to, this is the transformation point. Let's drag this down to the bottom. And now, if I make it a little shorter, it'll do it to that point. Now press F6. The transformation point moves back to where it was. So now I'm going to move it down again, and I'm going to skew it a little. F6. And now I'm going to move this down again. Once again, I'm going to skew it back this way, F6. And now I'm going to drag this down to the bottom, skew it back to the middle. And now I'm going to drag it up to make it really tall, F6. And let's make it go back to its original size. Ooh, how did that happen? Command Z. The whole thing got selected. Make sure that your entire range does not get selected. Okay, F6. Nice. And Command S. So just any kind of transformation, didn't really matter what it was. All you want to do is make sure you get this interesting visual effect. So there you go. You've got additive, reverse subtractive, so additive, reverse subtractive, and manual transform. File and save. So that's the first Animate tutorial.